All right, so we are going to work on making an exploded view today. So this is called an exploded view. It's when we have an assembly and we just break apart the pieces to show how it was built. So this is our exploded view. These little guys up here are called balloons or callouts that are pointing to each, they're numbering each part. And then we'll see those up here in what's called a bill of materials. So each part, like part 5, matches up with our purple piece, and it tells us a little bit more about it, like what material it's out of. Sometimes we'll do a mass or a volume, giving us some more information. So we're going to start off. We have our assembly. If you have not finished your assembly yet, you need to do that first before you can create an exploded view. And on the right here, we have some options. The bottom option says exploded views. We're going to click that. Now, right now, this is kind of taking up a lot of room. So we can actually just shorten it up a little bit. And then we're going to press this button that says add exploded view. Now it shows us that we're editing the exploded view and we're good to go. I might want to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to press the Z key to zoom out, or you can use the mouse to zoom out. So the way we do an exploded view is we click on each piece and we just drag it away. So I'm going to drag it and I'm going to choose, for this, I'm going to choose a distance of 3.5. Hit enter, kind of make sure it looks nice, and then hit our check mark. Then I'm going to click my next piece. A common mistake that I see students do is they might want to drag this up, but they accidentally hit this little rotate button. If it starts rotating, just go ahead and hit the X. We didn't want to rotate. Another common mistake is students accidentally click on 2 of them, and they're both going up. I didn't want 2, I just wanted 1. Hit the X. And then the last thing is I want to make sure that when I do this, I don't pass through any other cubes, right? This is passing through another cube. I don't really want that. I would rather have it go in a direction that is okay. So give me a second while this refreshes. So I'm going to drag that guy up so that it's not passing through anything. If this ever happens to you, by the way, you're not in your exploded view anymore, go ahead and go back to the exploded view, double click explode 1, and then you'll go back. Sometimes that happens if you accidentally hit done, it takes you back there. So I'm going to zoom out again. I'm on this purple one, and I'm going to drag it up by 3.5. So we're always going in different directions. I'll do the green one next. I'm going to go down. When I go down, I notice these are negative. I'm going to go negative 3.5. I'm going to zoom out one more time. Hit Z. Then I'm going to hit this blue piece. I'm going to drag this blue piece to the left. And I'm going to go negative 3.5. And finally, my red piece, I'm going to probably drag back. Notice when I click the red piece, though, only one of them clicked. And that's because my red piece was made out of 2 parts. I had to make them into a sub-assembly. So if you have any like that, you actually will need to click on both of them. So I want both of those together. I'm going to draw those back. And you'll notice if I go back 3.5, these are actually overlapping. I'm going to show you for right now. They're overlapping, right? The purple piece is covering up the red piece. I do not want that. I don't want any of your pieces covering up another piece. So if that happens, you want to kind of adjust that. I don't want you to do it again. You've already done it. If you go here, you're going to see each step, right? Like when I go here, the orange piece is highlighted, the purple piece is highlighted, the green piece is highlighted. Also, if I click on one of them, it'll highlight step 3. So on this one, if I click on this guy, it's highlighting step 5. So I'm going to just double click step 5. And instead of 3, I'm going to try different distances, like 4.5 maybe. That's still pretty close. And I determined I've already done this, that 7 actually looks pretty good. So I did 7 here. Okay, now this looks like it's very evenly spaced. Everything is nice. And that's kind of what I want. If you feel like maybe the green piece is a little too far down, I could click it. It's step 3. Maybe instead of negative 3.5, I just shorten it up to negative 3. And try that. And I like this look a lot. You know, everything is nicely spaced out. So I'm going to use this. So I'm going to just go ahead and click done. It's gone, but it's not really gone, right? If I double click explode 1, it's still there. So now that I have that, now we're ready to start our drawing. So I'm going to click the plus button, and I'm going to go ahead and press create drawing. And instead of choosing ANSI A that we've normally been picking, I'm going to press created by me. I'm going to pick the Vaughn template that we made in class. So I click created by me, the Vaughn template, go ahead and press OK. So we should have had this template in class. And now we can use this template. We're going to insert our cube. Now, it initially inserts different parts, But instead of parts, we can also choose assemblies. So we don't want to be on parts. We now want to be on assemblies. We're going to press our full cube assembly. And this is our front view. Okay, I don't want the front view. I want to see the isometric view. So here on view orientation, I'm going to go ahead and press isometric. And I'm just going to press this, click this in somewhere. And so there's our isometric view. That's what I wanted. I'm going to right click this. And I'm going to press show shaded view. Show shaded view. That's going to color it in for me. Now that it's colored in, I'm going to click it. And I'm just going to drag this kind of down to the bottom right corner. I want to get this as close as possible to the bottom right corner as I can. I don't want to be touching any of these lines, but I just want it to be nice and close to that corner. Right, now I want to get the exploded view in. So up here is probably the fourth option. It has an arrow kind of pointing to a cube. It says insert view. We're still inserting the same thing. So I want to change my view to be the isometric view again. Now, this is the exact same thing that we just did. I don't want this guy. We're going to change explode to explode 1. So now I'll wait for this to render and load, but this is going to be the exploded view. This is very, very big though. This won't even fit on my drawing. So I need to change the scale. I don't want to use 1 to 1. I'm going to do this as 1 to 2. And just kind of put this up here to start. And I want to point something out after we shade it. So we're going to right click it and we're going to shade it again. And so I want to point out that this one does have a scale. The reason that it has a scale is that the document scale is 1 to 1. When I inserted this guy, we did 1 to 1. So anything on this document has a scale of 1 to 1 unless we change it. And if we change it, it's going to put a scale with it. So when I move this, notice that its scale moves with it. It's saying this is a special scale of 1 to 2. So this is like a 50% scale. So I want to move this all the way to the bottom left, but don't go by the box, because if you go by the box, that scale is going to be overlapping. You need to kind of go by the scale and get that down in the bottom left corner. I want the bottom left as much as we can, because we're going to need this empty white space over here. Right? Remember, we're trying to get this bill of materials in. So that's going to be our next step, is our bill of materials. So you can get this right here, is our bill of materials button. Or you can also right click on the cube and press insert bill of materials. Either way it'll work, and it kind of enters it as a table. Instead of trying to get it in the right corner on this one, we're actually going to place it on the right corner. When we go to the right corner, that little square pops up. Just click it when the square's popped up, and it'll lock it in the right corner for us. Okay, now we have item, quantity, part number, and description. The descriptions will be nice for complicated things, but for this, they're all cubes, so I don't really want that. So we want to edit this bill of materials. So we're going to do that by coming back to our full cube assembly. And we had clicked exploded views. The top one is bill of materials. Now on this one, we do want to see everything, so I'm going to just drag this so I can see more of it. And so now we can edit this. Like the description, I could type in a description here if I wanted to. But for this one, we're not going to. We're not going to do that. We're going to just get rid of description. It doesn't really make much sense. So I'm going to right click it. I right click it and remove column. Same thing with part number. Right click it, remove column. Now I'm going to add my name and I'm going to add the material. So I want to add the name and the material. And for me, I renamed these pieces, like the blue piece. I renamed. If yours says part 1, just right click it and click rename and rename it to the blue piece, right? So I already renamed all of mine, except I never renamed my red piece because my red piece had 2 of them. And I was like, well, I'm just going to make it a sub-assembly. But now that we have this bill of materials, it's kind of awkward to just have part 1 and part 2. So I'm going to come back to the red piece. And I'm going to rename this red part 1 and red part 2. So if you have a sub-assembly like I do, you might have to do something like that. So now when I come here, now each one of these pieces has a unique name. I don't want them all to be part 1, right? If they were all part 1, go to the piece, right click where it says part 1 and rename it. So now this is how I want my bill of materials to look. When I come back to the drawing, it doesn't look like that. It's still the old one. But you'll notice this orange button up here that says update from the workspace. It wasn't orange before, now it is because there is something to update. We made a change, so now we're going to click it, and it's going to update for us. And now this is how we want our bill of materials to look. The last step is going to be to add these balloons. So the way we add these balloons, there's a little balloon button. They're called callouts officially. And we're going to just click on each piece. And you click on a piece and you just kind of drag the arrow. I like to drag them at an angle. I don't like to do them like straight up. I like to kind of put a little angle. And another thing is don't kind of click in the middle. If you click in the middle, it's not really going to work, right? So I'm going to kind of just hit the X there. I didn't want to do that, and I'll just undo that. So I want to click from an edge. You always want to click from an edge. So click from an edge and kind of drag it at an angle. This piece I'm going to need to do for each one of them. So I'm going to drag this guy at an angle, and I'll drag this guy at an angle, right? Because this was piece 1 and piece 2. They're just assembled together. Then I'll go with this one, and finally this one. So one thing is we want to always have these balloons coming outside. You don't ever want to put any balloons like into the center like that. That would not be good. You want them outside. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and undo my last one because we didn't want it there. So they're all kind of pointing outside. And then this is finished. However, I do want to just kind of double check and look at the bottom here. So the full cube assembly came from the name of my assembly. If it says assembly 1, then right click this one and rename it. Okay, I want this to say full cube assembly. Drawn by should be your name. Scale is 1:1. Our date's filled in. Drawing just says drawing 1. That's kind of a little bit sloppy. So let's right click drawing 1 and let's give it a more proper name. Let's rename it. I'm going to name this puzzle cube drawing. And then when I rename it, it updates it as a puzzle cube drawing. So now this is perfect and finalized. To turn this in, I want us to turn this in as a PDF. A PDF is a nice file that we can share for documents. That it can be opened by cell phones, computers. It's very easy to open. So I'm going to right click puzzle cube drawing, press export, and we're going to export it. Make sure the format says PDF, and then it's options. It's just download. So we're going to export it. That should download to your downloads folder, or it might even ask you where to save it. And then that PDF that just downloaded, it'll be titled puzzlecubedrawing.pdf. You'll upload that to the Google Classroom assignment. All right, hope this helps. Have a good day, everyone. And I'll be seeing you around.